Hello there, everyone, and welcome to round 4 of season 7 of the Attrition Sim Race Campus Oval Series. Tonight, we're here at the Five Flags Speedway here in Pensacola, Florida, for 101 laps of late model action. This track was opened back in 1953 and is 0.5 miles or zero point 0.8 kilometers in length. This track is arguably one of the most popular short tracks in the Southeast, along with their weekly racing series of super late models, pro trucks, outlaw stocks, pure stocks, and many more. They also have hosted the NASCAR Southeast Series, ARCA East Series, and are hosts to the yearly Snowball Derby, which is a late model race that attracts drivers from all around the country and sometimes other countries to compete in a 300 lap late model race. This track is known as the Five Flags Speedway because it is in the city of Five Flags for having been territory of Spain, France, Great Britain, the Confederate States of America, and now the United States of America. And it has been around for quite a long time, and it's like that for a reason because it puts on some very great racing. Of course, if anyone is interested in joining Attrition Sim Race Campus, you can find them at www.asrcracing.com or at ASRC Racing on Twitter, along with their weekly Oval Series, which currently races the late model. They also have a multi-class MX5 and TCR series on Mondays at 7, and a Dirt Pro Late Model series on Tuesdays at 9 Eastern. So, if any of those sound interesting to you, go ahead and give Attrition Simulation Campus a look down on their website or on their Twitter. That said, though, qualifying is in the books for tonight's race. So, how about we go take a look at our starting grid presented by the Majors Garage and Sim Racer Hub. Starting out on pole tonight in the number 83 machine is Chase Johnson, a rookie to the ASRC series, making his first ever appearance here tonight, and he is starting on pole, so he will be someone to definitely watch out for here tonight. Starting to his outside in the number 4 entry is Brad Ringer. In row 2, our Oval Series organizer, Jason Gardner, in the number 93 Raybestos Brakes entry. In 4th place, Eric Gahn in the number 51. In 5th place, Jason Mong. In 6th place, League admin Johnny Bell in the Lernerville TV number 27 entry. In 7th place is Bill Watkins, rocking a new A&W paint scheme here tonight. In 8th place is Garrett Hess in the number 400 machine driving for Everfrost. And rounding out our field here tonight in the number 14 is Nico Morelli in the Justin Wilson Memorial Tribute car. That said, pace car lights are off. We are getting ready to go green flag racing here at the Five Flags Speedway. 101 laps are up for grabs here tonight. There is a rookie driver starting here on pole, and things are about to get very loud and very interesting here tonight, race fans. The pace car is off, and the green flag is up in the air here at the Five Flags Speedway. The outside line, as tends to be usual for these short track races, not getting as good of a start as the inside line. Brad Ringer fairly quickly filing himself down into 2nd place on the inside line. Just ready to turn some laps. There's 101 laps up for grabs here tonight, and as I always like to say, there is no reason to be pushing yourself early. This track is known to be very tough on tires, and you just got to be patient. You don't want to be the person who wears your tires down early on. And I say that. So much for taking it easy in the early laps, huh, folks? It looks like Jason Mong in that 70. Lots of smoke coming out of that machine. A bit of twisted metal right there. Definitely not how Jason Mong in that 70 wanted to start his race. It looks like the number 4 of Brad Ringer also having some pretty heavy damage from that early contact. Let's see if we can go back and see what just happened to these two cars. Looking right here at Brad Ringer in the number 4 Union 76 entry. He just got a little bit loose off the corner and couldn't hang on to it, and there was nowhere that some of these drivers could go, especially that number 70. The 4 just lost control, tried his best to hang on to it, ended up in the high line, and there was just nothing that Jason Mong could really do to avoid that there. That's just a massive impact for both of these drivers, and a bit of a hit for the 27 as well. Let's see if we can take a look back at that from Jason Mong's perspective. Let's see if we can get an onboard view with Jason Mong in that number 70. He's just riding through the corners, making his way through the track. He goes up high to try and avoid the wreck. He got on the brakes, and he just could not slow down enough. Very, very unfortunate, very hard hit to open up this race. Not to be that guy, but that's a lot of damage. Not sponsored by Flex Tape, by the way, but you know. Someone had to say it. That was a big impact. And it does look like... Nope. Brad Ringer may have actually retired from the race already. Yeah, Brad Ringer has packed it up, went back to his hauler. He has called it a night here at the Five Flags Speedway. Only 3 laps complete for the driver of the number 4 machine. But we're going green here again. A wreck like that's not going to stop us racing, and even if we are down a few cars, there's still plenty of action left up for grabs here tonight. Chase Johnson off to a very nice lead, almost half a second on that restart. And while he has a little bit of a gap to work with, Jason Gardner in our second position does not. He was right up against Nico Morelli for a second there. Nico trying to get a pass down on the very low line, trying to get his nose up under there, but he just was not able to make it happen. Seeing how big of an impact that was early on, I would not be surprised if the drivers start to take things a little bit easier here tonight. No one wants to recreate that incident a second time and lose what could potentially be a pretty good finish. Admittedly, there are 4 drop weeks here in the Attrition Sim Race Campus Oval Series out of the 12-week season. So what that means is each driver's 4 worst finishes are erased from the record book, more or less, and the championship is calculated by every driver's top 8 finishes. So having that massive impact, it's not the end of the world for Brad Ringer or Jason Mong, but that said, they both have missed a race or 2 so far, I believe. Actually, no, I think Jason Mong has made every race, but Brad Ringer has missed a race or 2, so while it's not the end of the world that they got involved in that wreck, it doesn't hurt to try and conserve your drop weeks throughout the season. Because you never know when you're going to have an emergency and not be able to make a race, or get involved in another lap 3 wreck like that. So it's just something the drivers have to think about. It's a bit of risk versus reward. No one wants a wrecked race car. Just because, I mean, they're here to race, they're here to have fun, and no one wants to burn through their basically second chances. But that said, we are 15 laps in the books now. Drivers have mostly single-filed out like I anticipated. Garrett Hess in that 400 Everfrost machine is catching up to Eric Gahn. Eric Gahn was here for the first race and then I believe missed round 2 and 3. So he's definitely battling to try and get a good finish here tonight. Even if there are 4 drop weeks, you gotta race every race like it's going to count, because ultimately, you never know when you might have a bad race. So, everyone of course is giving it their all, but they're all being reasonably cautious as well, not wanting to wreck any race cars or hurt any feelings. This league is all about racing each other with respect, after all. But Eric Gahn is beginning to start making moves on Nico Morelli down on the inside of the track. It seems like he is making the inside of the track work pretty well in that number 51 machine. And Garrett Hess may just be trying to see if he can sneak back Nico Morelli as well while Nico is pinned up to the high side. And it looks like he is going to make it work. Hess is going to get to position on Morelli as well as Eric Gahn. Nico, obviously not something that he wants to see, but sometimes that's just how it goes. You get pushed up to the high side and you can't come back down. There's a car inside there, so he let the 2 drivers pass, he filed back in, and now he's going to be digging back down on that low line to try and make the passes back. 23 laps now in the books, still roughly 80 laps to go, so plenty of time to make things happen here tonight. Currently, Eric Gahn and Garrett Hess, the 2 closest cars together on track right now, with a roughly 0.3 of a second of a gap between the 2 drivers, fluctuating between 0.2 and 0.3 seconds. Nico Morelli not far behind though, only a half a second gap behind Garrett Hess. These 2 drivers definitely trying their best to make things work here. Garrett Hess finished on the podium last week. He had a bit of difficulty early on into the run, but in the long run, he made things work, and so far it seems to be going a bit of the other way for him. He seems to be doing pretty strong in this early run, so it will be interesting to see if he is able to maintain that throughout the race here tonight. Back up in the front, our race leader, Chase Johnson, currently has led every lap of the race, and he is absolutely sailing away with a 2.8 second lead, almost 3 second lead on our second place car of Jason Gardner. Chase Johnson is a rookie here in the Attrition Sim Race Campus, but he was definitely not unfamiliar with this late model stock car. In fact, I was talking to him a little bit before the race started, and if I understood him correctly, I believe he said that he currently has a world record lap time on iRacing at the Irwindale Speedway in that number 83 stock car. I could be mistaken on that, but I'm fairly certain that is what he told me, and if so, that is a very impressive stat, and it obviously makes a lot of sense that he is leading this race by over 3 seconds now. Further back in the pack, Garrett Hess is trying to make the pass on Eric Gahn, and it looks like he is going to do it. That said, Eric Gahn getting a little bit of a run off the corner, so he's not completely giving it up here, but it looks like Garrett is going to secure the position in the number 400 Everfrost machine. Everfrost is one of Garrett's favorite bands. He tells me it's a symphonic metal band. I believe he said that it's a Finnish band at that. And it's like I've said every week, I don't know what those words mean. They're very big, and admittedly, I am not particularly musically literate, but I will say that the album art looks really great on that number 400. I do love me a purple race car. I am in no way biased, I promise. These two drivers still the closest battle on the Speedway right now, but very close behind them in terms of gap is Bill Watkins and Nico Morelli. Bill Watkins in that number 1 A&W entry. That's actually a new paint scheme for him here tonight, and I've got to say that it looks really nice. That's not a paint scheme I've seen before. Admittedly, I've not done a lot of late model racing prior to starting to broadcast this league, but I will say, if that's a replica of a real life car, I definitely love to see it, and if it's not, it still looks very nice. Up here in the front, Garrett Hess is still up ahead of Eric Gahn, but the gap has not changed whatsoever. These drivers still fluctuating between 0.2 and 0.3 of a second between each other. That time even going a little bit below 0.2 of a second. Eric Gahn definitely is doing his best to dig and get back to that number 400 entry. He wants that podium here tonight at the Five Flags Speedway. Eric Gahn currently 5th overall in the points, with Garrett Hess in 6th right behind him. Only a 5-point deficit between the two drivers, and you gotta consider, Garrett has only done half as many races this season as Eric Gahn has, so Eric is definitely going to be giving it everything he's got to try and get around the driver of this number 400 and secure his top 5 spot on the season standings right now. Of course, Brian Sabelski is currently our standings leader by a hefty margin, having won all 3 races up to this point, but unfortunately he is on vacation tonight, so he was unable to attend our race here at Five Flags. But hey, that's what I was talking about earlier. That is what these drop weeks are here for, so you're not completely punished if for some reason you're not able to make it to a race. And hopefully we will be able to see Brian back out here tonight. I'm definitely curious to see if he will have anything to offer for Mr. Chase Johnson up in that number 83 machine. Because I'll tell you what, race fans, Chase Johnson is absolutely dominating the field here tonight. He has over a 10-second gap on Garrett Hess in 3rd place right now, and almost a 5-second gap on our 2nd place driver. He is putting on a heck of a run here tonight. There's no other way to describe it other than he's doing an exceptional job. I think this might be the biggest lead we have seen here in the Oval Series since the beginning of the late model racing, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the biggest lead we've seen in the Oval Series, period. 5 seconds between himself and 2nd place is a very impressive feat. That said, if I'm looking at his car correctly, it almost looks like he has a little bit of damage on the right front. Let me look at another driver and see if that's how the car is supposed to look, or if I'm going insane here. No, it does look like Chase Johnson might have tagged the wall a little bit with his right front. You can see that little piece of sheet metal sticking out of the front of the car. I wonder how that happened. I mean, evidently it's not holding him back, as his gap is now increased to 5.25 seconds, and climbing probably will be 5.5 seconds here soon. He's not giving up. He has almost a 5.5 second gap, and you know what he's saying? He says, I'm going to make it even bigger. I'm going to keep pushing this car as hard as I can. So evidently, despite 5 Flags notoriety for doing a very big number on its tires, it looks like he is very confident in his setup, and he is not afraid to push this car to its limits. And speaking of how far he's gone, he has just lapped Johnny Bell in that number 27 Lernerville TV entry. Johnny Bell is now our first driver a lap down, and it's purely on pace. That is not something we see a lot here in the Oval Series. Of course, it's not too far-fetched, but it's unusual, especially with Johnny Bell, who traditionally is further up in the pack. It looks like tonight just hasn't really been his night so far. It is possible that he got a little bit of engine damage from that incident at the beginning of the race. He did make a little bit of nose contact with Jason Mong when he spun out, so who knows? Back in third place, Eric Gahn still is not letting Garrett Hess catch a breath by any means whatsoever. Still maintaining that 0.2 second gap behind the number 400 machine, fluctuating between 0.2 and 0.3. He is not giving Hess a break at all. He is going to dig every lap he can to try and get that position back. He definitely wants to be on the podium, and I can't say I blame him. He and Hess are next to each other on the standings, so these positions are very pivotal. Nico Morelli in the 14 machine, our second driver to go a lap down. And it looks like Chase Johnson is not even giving up either. It looks like he's getting ready to lap Bill Watkins as well. It's absurd for me to say this, especially this early on into his run, but is it possible that we see Chase Johnson lap every car in the field tonight? I mean, call me absurd, but with the lap times he's setting, it's entirely possible. Every lap he's been setting has been 0.1 second faster than Jason Gardner, 0.2 second faster than Garrett Hess and Eric Gahn, and over 0.3 second faster than everyone else in the field. So he is putting down some absolutely exceptional lap times here tonight. His best lap time is also 0.1 second faster than Jason Gardner's. Chase Johnson's best lap time is a 17.12. Our second best lap time, a 17.23. So that doesn't sound like a lot when you just think about the numerical value there, but that is a really huge deal when it comes to short track racing like this. Bill Watkins now down a lap 2, and it looks like Chase Johnson has Eric Gahn and Garrett Hess in his sights next. He has 40 laps left to go. Fuel mileage might come into effect here, it might not. We got mixed opinions in the paddock about what fuel strategies need to be employed tonight, if any. So we will have to see if Chase Johnson is able to keep this pace up for all 101 laps. But if he is, he very well could catch these two drivers. After all, there is a 14-second gap between Eric Gahn in that number 51 entry and Chase Johnson, who was our race leader. And the average lap times being set are about 17.5 seconds. So as you watch that interval tick down on Eric Gahn, now 15.3. Once that gets to 17.5, he's going to be getting lapped. So these drivers got to keep pushing with all their might if they want to keep themselves on the lead lap. I would imagine that our lap down drivers, especially Bill Watkins in that number 1 machine, is praying for a caution right about now, because of course Should a caution come out, he will get the lucky dog and be placed back on the lead lap. And that could be a huge deal for his race standings right now, losing the ability to be passed by Nico Morelli or Johnny Bell should they catch up to him. We will just have to see what unfolds here. There is about 30 laps to go, a little bit over 30 laps to go, and Chase Johnson, he's on a roll. This is definitely by far, I think, the biggest lead I have ever seen in an ASRC oval race. We're definitely going to have to keep a close eye on Chase Johnson throughout the season, because this is an amazing run right here, and if he can keep this up, Brian Sabelski might just have a run for his money. But there you can see that number 51, Chase Johnson, is catching up. So unless there's a caution or he has to stop for fuel in the next 30 laps, there's a very real chance that Eric Gahn and Garrett Hess will also be going down a lap. Every time by, he's getting a little bit closer. Chase Johnson's last lap time, 0.3 of a second faster than Eric Gahn's. So he is gaining incredibly quickly on our remaining lead lap cars. I wouldn't be surprised if he's challenging himself to the very same thing that we're watching him for, to put everyone on the lead lap down a lap and be the only lead lap car. I will say, if he pulls it off, it'll be a very impressive feat in its own right, so well, we'll have to see. That said, he is about to make the pass on Eric Gahn. This corner is probably going to be where he does it. Eric Gahn going up high to let him by, not wanting to hold up the race leader. That is going to put a bit of a deficit between him and Garrett Hess, but Hess is eventually going to have to move up to let him by as well. Further back in the field, Johnny Bell is catching up to Nico Morelli. There is still passings for positions happening for these drivers that are not on the lead lap. Johnny Bell going considerably lower on the track than Nico Morelli is, it looks like. Almost getting his tires down onto the apron there, but he's making it stick. He's not actually getting onto the apron. If he was, that probably would be making his car a bit unstable. As now Garrett Hess is down a lap with 25 laps to go. All that's left is Jason Gardner for Chase Johnson to pass, to put everyone in the field behind him by a whole lap. And it looks like Chase Johnson getting around Garrett Hess allowed Eric Gahn to catch up, now back to a half-second deficit, while at the same time, Johnny Bell is getting closer and closer to Nico Morelli. Nico drifting up high a little bit on the track. Johnny going a little bit higher through the corner there, but sticking it to the low line on corner exit. Johnny Bell, oh, he did overdrive the entry a little bit there. It was looking like Johnny Bell might just have been able to make the pass there. He is, nope. I was about to say he might be able to make the pass here, but it looks like his car is a little bit loose, but he's going to keep trying. He had a big push into the corner there, so it does look like his car is starting to get a little bit unstable here. And Jason Gardner and Chase Johnson are in pit lane, so it looks like these two drivers are going to need fuel and tires. Chase Johnson taking all 4 tires. He must have been very confident in the lead he was having, so why not? I mean, he's lapped the entire field except for Jason Gardner. So I understand his confidence in taking a 4-tire strategy with 20 laps to go. Ooh, Nico Morelli pitting in there. That was a little bit scary. He and Johnny almost made contact, but Johnny managed to keep it out of his bumper. That was very close though, so props to both those drivers for keeping that pit entry clean and not letting anything go wrong there. Garrett Hess, your new race leader. There are bonus points for laps red here in the ASRC Oval Series, so even if he doesn't claim the race win, he can at least say that his fuel strategy grabbed him a bonus point for sticking out to the end of the fuel cycle and getting himself a bonus point here. Jason Gardner also making his way around Garrett Hess, so he is back on the lead lap, and once Chase Johnson makes the pass, he will be back on the lead lap as well. It looks like Jason Gardner did get a faster pit stop pulled off, so Chase Johnson is going to have to make a little bit of ground back, but he is proven to be incredibly dominant in that car, so we'll see if he can make these 4 tires stick and get the pass back on Jason Gardner. Provided that Garrett Hess and Johnny Bell pit sometime soon, there is a chance that Jason could pick up a lap lead bonus as well. We will have to see. Nico Morelli and Eric Gahn here battling for position. Both drivers are a lap down, but they are battling for the 4th and 5th positions. That said, Garrett Hess has gone into pits, so Johnny Bell is your new race leader. He will also be picking up a bonus point for leading a lap. I wouldn't be surprised if he pits in here now too for having gotten the bonus points he was after. That said, Johnny Bell, he is the driver that has been trying unorthodox pit strategies all season, so he might just be trying to stay out the entire race yet again. I would not put it past him. Actually, wait. He pitted on the first caution. He took fuel on the first caution on lap 5. Johnny Bell might just have fuel to the end. If he did his math right, Johnny Bell, he had a 45-second pit time. Admittedly, he did have to get his car looked at because he was involved in that wreck. But if I am looking at things correctly, Johnny Bell does not have to pit in again. So 10 laps in the air, the big double high fives are up. If Johnny can just hold on to the car for another 9.5 laps, he might just be our race leader. I did not see that coming. It completely flew over my head that he pit in on the first caution. It's like I've said here, folks. Johnny Bell is the man who does the most unorthodox fuel strategies that... Oh, nope. Never mind. All my hype building was for nothing. It looks like he does not have fuel to the end. Jason Gardner, your new race leader. Chase Johnson diving down to the inside, trying to reclaim his lead, and it looks like he will get it. Gosh, I was really excited for Johnny Bell there. I thought Johnny's was making the biggest brain fuel play of the century, but it looks like it was not meant to be. That said, I'm pretty sure that Jason Gardner will be pitted, or will be credited with leading a lap for a bonus point there, so he will get something out of this. He has 7 laps left to try and get back into the lead, but it may not work out for him. Chase Johnson is still setting almost 3/10 of a second lap times faster than Jason Gardner. That said, the big high five is up in the air. 5 laps to go here at the 5 Flags Speedway. Garrett Hess still on the lead lap, but just barely. He has pit in twice, so I think that he should be good on fuel. Chase Johnson's lap continues to grow tremendously with every corner he takes, almost a full second gap now. Bill Watkins and Nico Morelli currently our closest battle on track with 3 laps to go. Bill Watkins taking up higher into the high line, but having a hard time making that car stick. We will have to see if he manages to get around Nico Morelli here. Nico, having started in last place this race, he might just be able to hold on to the position here. 2 laps to go here at the Five Flag Speedway. Bill Watkins going a bit high up the track there. White flag is in the air. Nico Morelli and Bill Watkins still battling it out. It all's coming down to this final corner, and it looks like Nico Morelli has it. As, of course, with a full second lead, our rookie driver, Chase Johnson, takes the win here at the Five Flags Speedway. Chase Johnson putting on quite possibly the most dominant performance seen here in the ASRC Oval Series. That was an exceptional run made by that number 83 driver. If he didn't have to pit for fuel, it is very possible he would have lapped every car in this field. And even just passing everyone except P2 is still an impressive feat in itself. He led the race with a full lap deficit to the car in 3rd place. And it was purely on speed, no pit strategy involved. Some slightly dangerous donuts going on there, but he does have to do his victory celebration after all. Thankfully, he did not make contact with Garrett and Jason, but he may have to use some of his race winnings to repair a little bit of the pit wall. Because he has made several impacts with it on that celebratory donut right there. Let's see if we can call up Mr. Chase Johnson for an interview. Preferably get the replay on a lap where he's not in pit lane. There we go. I didn't mean to hit the live. I'm a professional broadcaster, trust me. I know what I'm doing. There we go. Let's see if we can get Mr. Chase Johnson to answer us here. We are dialing him up, Mr. Race Winner. We will say if he picks up. We seem to be kind of hit or miss on if drivers actually show up to the interview. But here he is, our race winner. Chase, you had quite possibly one of the most dominant runs I've ever seen in this league. How'd you make it happen?
I kind of just got lucky there. I thought Jason had me there, only taking 2 tires. We kind of got lucky there. Just everything played out right and got lucky.
Yeah, sometimes luck does come into a play, but I've got to give you credit. You did an amazing job here tonight. Who would you like to thank for making it all happen here?
I would like to thank Moonlight Speed LLC, Burnt Rubber Media, Martin Sports. That's just about it. My mom, my dad, W Energy. Use code Rocket Fuel to get 10% off, and that's about it. Thank you.
Good deal. Thanks for coming out. Great seeing new faces here in the series.
Thank you.
You heard it here first. That was our race winner, rookie Chase Ed Johnson, putting on a very dominant performance. Up next, Let's see if we can get Mr. Jason Gardner, our second place finisher. Jason, uh, Chase had quite the heck of a run here tonight, but even then, you still managed to have a pretty close battle near the end. How did this race play out for you?
Well, I managed to finish with the car in one piece this time, so that's a good thing. But yeah, Chase just had a really good car all race long. I tried some pit strategy to try to get ahead. I just came up a few laps short. He just had a much quicker car than me or anybody else in that case.
Yeah, but he put on a heck of a show, but so did you. You had a, I believe, 6 second gap on third place for a decent chunk of this race, so you were very fast yourself here tonight.
Yeah, the car, it was nice and stable, and it's keep a decent pace and a decent fall off. But yeah, like I said, I was hoping I could come out for a win, but I'll take second.
Yep, second is still very nice looking on the point standings. Is there anyone you would like to thank for getting your number 93 machine here on the podium?
Oh, first, Johnny being the head guy at ASRC. Without him, with this whole series probably probably wouldn't be happening right now.
Yeah, you and Johnny both have put a lot of work into ASRC, and I think we all can be in agreement when I say that we appreciate that everything the ASRC admins do to put not only the Oval Series, but all of ASRC's league series and endurance teams and everything we do together.
Yeah, it's oh, give me a second. That those last few laps kind of
Yeah, you're all good.
empty me. Yeah, like I said, Chase has ran me hard. I'm kind of
Yeah,
exhausted mentally as well.
that's fair. Well, I won't keep you then. You put on a good run. You deserve whatever your beverage of choice is for getting a pretty good finish. And go kick your feet up and relax. You've earned this one.
All right.
You heard it here first, folks. That was Jason Gardner, our second place finisher. Now we got to call up our main man in that number 400 machine. He was in third place last race. He's in third place again. Garrett, that was quite the battle you had going on just about all race. How are you feeling after that? Uh oh.
Wait, am I being interviewed or something?
You are being interviewed or something. You
Okay,
came in third place again. You
okay,
did it.
okay, yeah. You were quiet. You were quiet for a second on my end.
Oh,
Yeah, I finished P3.
you did, and you
That's
were in a heck of a battle all race.
I was. Eric kept me on my toes pretty much the entire time. I uh, I had to try to keep him in my mirror for most of the time. Was essentially parking in front of him for most of the race to keep him behind me. And eventually, I pulled away from him. And once pits cycled out, I got back in front of him, and now I'm P3 for the second week in a row.
You did it. So, hey, maybe we will be able to keep the trend up for the rest of the series. And if not P3, maybe you can get some wins as well. You are
I don't,
have always been pretty competitive in this league after all. Admittedly in
I
other
don't,
cars, but still.
I don't know. With Chase, man, I don't think a lot of people have a chance. Maybe Brian, but uh, I think Chase might be a little bit out of my league. No pun intended.
You never know. Accidents do happen. Like, whatever happened on lap 3 of this race, that was quite an interesting start.
Yeah,
But
that was a pretty interesting event that happened. I'm just lucky I didn't get involved in it.
yeah. Is there anyone you would like to thank for getting this number 400 machine into the podium position?
I want to thank Everfrost for being the best band in the world. I want to thank Team Watson Racing for being the best team in the world. And I want to tell James Watson, please slow down the Pro 2 lights. Let other people win.
Good deal. I'm sure he'll get the memo.
I don't know if he will. He's too fast.
Well, we'll have to see. Thanks for coming out again, Garrett. Always great to see you in the field.
And if I know, it's great to see me.
Heck yeah. I think that's that then.
All right. Is it?
I think so.
All right. See you guys.
See ya. Well, that's that, race fans. We got all 3 interviews yet again. Believe it or not, the drivers actually want to talk to me again. It's a very, very great feeling. But before we end this podcast off, how about we take a quick look at our race results? Finishing first place tonight in that number 383, Chase Johnson, Rookie of the Year, quite possibly. He put on one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen in his first ever race, not only in the Attrition Oval Series, but in Attrition period. In second place, Jason Gardner in the number 93, who has been battling up in the front just about all series. He's been putting on a great show. Lots of podium finishes. Third place to Garrett Hess in the 400. Fourth place to Eric Gahn in the 51. Fifth place to Johnny Bell in the number 27. Sixth place to Nico Morelli in the 14. Seventh place to Bill Watkins in the number 1. Eighth place to Jason Mong in the 70. And ninth place to Brad Ringer in the number 4. As always, this has been the ASRC Oval Series. If you want to come out and race with us, the league is free to join. You're allowed to join mid-season. The only requirement is that you're a clean and respectful driver. So if you want to come out and check out the league, visit www.asrcracing.com and look up their Twitter at ASRC Racing. And we will see you next week at the Langley Speedway up in Hampton, Virginia. So we're going back up north to a very tight, very flat track. It will be a very different experience to what these drivers have had to go through so far. And I don't know about y'all race fans, but I am looking forward to some bullring action. But that's all I got here tonight. I'm your host, Icy Otter. Thank you all for coming out, and I will see you all next week. Have a good evening, race fans.